Friends, our world is filled with noise. A cacophony of sounds surrounds us, vying for our attention at every moment. Constant distractions, endless notifications pinging and buzzing, demanding our immediate response. Our phones have become extensions of ourselves, tethering us to a digital world that never sleeps, and a relentless push for more. Advertising bombards us from every angle, promising fulfillment through the acquisition of material goods. We're told happiness comes from more things: the latest gadgets, the most fashionable clothes, the biggest house. More status, more experiences, exotic vacations, fine dining, a life of luxury constantly showcased on social media. But this barrage leaves us anxious and empty, feeling like we're constantly chasing something just out of reach, unable to hear the gentle whisper of God. His voice, often soft and subtle, is drowned out by the clamor of the world. The church offers a radical alternative, a counter-cultural path that challenges the prevailing norms, the path of simplicity, a way of life that prioritizes inner peace over outward appearances. Simplicity isn't about rejecting the world entirely, isolating ourselves from society, but about putting God first, making Him the center of our lives, the guiding force behind our decisions, and clearing away the clutter, both physical and mental, that keeps us from Him, removing the obstacles that hinder our connection with the divine. It's an ancient wisdom, a timeless truth that has resonated through the ages. Monastics and saints have long sought God in silence and simplicity, recognizing the power of detachment in fostering spiritual growth. They knew that attachment to worldly things, the relentless pursuit of possessions and pleasures, crowds out our desire for God, leaving us feeling spiritually impoverished despite our material wealth. Embracing simplicity is a spiritual act, a conscious choice to prioritize the eternal over the temporal, a declaration that our joy and security are found in God, in His unwavering love and grace, not possessions. True contentment comes not from what we own but from who we are in Christ. When we simplify, we don't lose anything of value, we shed the unnecessary burdens that weigh us down, we gain clarity, peace, a sense of inner calm that transcends the chaos of the world, and space to encounter God, creating room in our lives for prayer, reflection, and spiritual growth. The world's noise fades, the distractions diminish, the clamor subsides, and in the quiet, in the stillness of our hearts, we discover what truly matters: the love of God, the beauty of creation, the importance of human connection. Simplicity is not deprivation, but freedom. Freedom from the tyranny of possessions, the pressure of expectations, the endless cycle of wanting more. It's a return to the heart, to the core of our being, to the place where we are most authentically ourselves, where God patiently waits for our attention, longing to shower us with His grace and love. In a world obsessed with more, where success is often measured by material wealth, simplicity is a bold act of faith, a declaration that we trust in God's provision and believe that He is enough. Let's make room for God's voice in our lives, creating space for Him to speak to our hearts and guide us on our journey. The call to simplicity is at the heart of the gospel. Jesus lived simply, born in a stable, owning nothing, trusting completely in the Father. He taught us not to worry about possessions, but to seek treasures in heaven. Saints like Augustine and Thérèse of Lisieux found peace not in things, but in loving God and neighbor. The Catechism urges us to practice temperance and warns against making idols of material goods. Simplicity isn't about rejecting the world, but about using what we have to serve God and others. A simple life is a rightly ordered life, one that finds rest in God, not in accumulation. The gospel invites us to trust, to let go, and to discover true freedom. Simplicity is the surest path to joy and holiness. St. Francis of Assisi is the model of gospel simplicity. Born into wealth, he gave it all up after hearing God's call. In a dramatic act, he renounced his inheritance, choosing poverty and freedom in Christ. Francis embraced Lady Poverty with joy, serving the poor and living with nothing. His detachment didn't empty his life, it filled it with God's presence and love for all creation. He saw God everywhere, in the sun, the moon, and the poor. Francis's life shows us that letting go of things opens our hearts to God's abundance. Simplicity for him was the path to true joy. Our culture's materialism, with its constant barrage of advertisements and the allure of the next best thing, subtly numbs our desire for God, drawing our attention away from the spiritual and towards the tangible. We fill our lives with possessions and ambitions, accumulating things we think will bring us happiness and chasing after goals that promise fulfillment, leaving no room for the divine, no space for quiet reflection, and no time for nurturing our souls. Jesus warned of this in the story of the rich young man, a man who had everything the world could offer. His attachment to wealth, his inability to let go of his material possessions, ultimately kept him from following Christ and experiencing true freedom. Our possessions can become our masters, dictating our choices and consuming our thoughts, promising security and a sense of worth, but in reality delivering only anxiety, stress, and a constant fear of loss. The cycle of wanting, that insatiable desire for more, buying and then worrying about maintaining and protecting what we've acquired, is a form of bondage, trapping us in a never-ending pursuit of fleeting pleasures. Pope Francis wisely warns against valuing things over people, reminding us of the importance of human connection and genuine relationships, and comfort over compassion, urging us to extend our hearts and hands to those in need, rather than indulging in our own desires. Materialism, in its essence, is a false religion, a deceptive ideology, offering empty promises of happiness, promising fulfillment, but ultimately leaving us feeling empty and unfulfilled. True satisfaction, lasting joy, and genuine peace are found only in God, in a relationship with the divine that transcends the material world. Simplicity, therefore, breaks these chains, freeing us from the grip of materialism, declaring our trust in the Lord, not in our stuff, acknowledging that our true security lies not in possessions, but in faith. It frees us from anxiety, from the constant worry about acquiring and maintaining, and opens us to real joy, to the simple pleasures of life, to the beauty of connection, and to the peace that surpasses all understanding. The world's promises are fleeting, they fade and disappear like a vapor, but God's love endures. It is eternal, unwavering, and a constant source of hope. Choosing simplicity is choosing freedom. It's choosing to live a life unburdened by the weight of possessions and the pursuit of worldly success. It's the way to lasting peace, a peace that comes from within, a peace that is grounded in faith and sustained by love. How do we begin to live simply? It's a question many of us ponder in our increasingly complex world. Where do we even start when surrounded by so much noise and distraction? Start by making space for prayer. Just 10 minutes of silence each day can transform your heart. It allows us to listen to the still, small voice within, guiding us toward what truly matters. Practice detachment. Donate what you don't need, and let go of the hold possessions have on you. Recognize that our identity isn't defined by what we own. Try fasting from consumerism. Set aside a day or week where you buy only necessities. This helps us appreciate what we already have and resist the urge to constantly acquire more. Focus on relationships over riches. Be present with family and friends, share meals, and connect without screens. Put down your devices and truly listen to those around you. True wealth is found in love, not things. Nurture the bonds that sustain you. Embrace nature. Find God's beauty in creation, not in shopping malls or endless entertainment. Time in nature quiets our anxieties and reminds us of God's care. It's a powerful antidote to the stresses of modern life. These small, intentional choices reorder our lives around what matters most. They shift our focus from the external to the internal, from having to being. Simplicity is built one step at a time. It's a journey, not a destination. Each act of letting go makes more room for God. It creates space for grace, for peace, and for deeper connection. Together, these practices lead us to holiness. They guide us toward a life of purpose, meaning, and profound joy. The world promises happiness through more, but delivers only stress and dissatisfaction. True peace comes from needing less and focusing on the Creator, not the created. Simplicity lifts the burden of wanting and frees us to experience God's peace. We become less anxious, less envious, and more compassionate. A simple life builds community and fosters love for neighbor. Don't fear simplicity. It's an invitation to abundance, joy, freedom, and deep peace. This week, take one small step. Give something away, turn off your phone, or spend time in prayer. See if this path doesn't lead you to a greater sense of God's presence. Simplicity is not loss, but gain. In letting go, we find the joy the world cannot give.